Initial German attacks on shipping and ports, July 10, August 7, 1940. In the heart of the English summer of 1940, an ominous shadow of war loomed over the cerulean skies and azure waters. The sun's radiant heat, usually a herald of tranquil times, was destined to illuminate the canvas of the impending conflict. The stage was set. A critical phase of the Battle of Britain was about to unfold, beginning on July 10th and continuing till August 7th. This period was characterized by the initial German attacks on shipping and ports, a strategic move taken by the German Luftwaffe with the objective of debilitating British naval power. For context, let's spiral back to the preliminary diplomatic and military maneuvers. Britain, having stood its ground against Germany in the earlier phases of World War II, now found itself in the crosshairs of the German military strategy. The Blitzkrieg had failed to subdue the British spirit. The Luftwaffe now sought to exploit a different avenue, Britain's maritime prowess. Germany, understanding the strategic importance of Britain's naval capabilities, devised a plan to disrupt the maritime supply chain. German forces were dispatched to execute concentrated attacks on shipping vessels and ports. This tactical decision was made in an attempt to cut off crucial resources and thereby weaken Britain's war effort. The Luftwaffe targeted the crisscrossing patterns of shipping vessels first, aiming to disrupt the rhythm of supply chains. The German Air Force's bombers, like birds of prey, circled the skies, seeking targets to swoop down upon. Cargo ships bearing the Union Jack were their prime targets. The German bombs rained down, transforming serene sea routes into turbulent battle zones. The British shipping industry had suddenly transformed from a lifeline of the nation to a contested space of war. But the German offensive didn't stop there. The port cities, critical nodes of the British maritime network, were the next targets. These cities, usually bustling with industry, were bracing for the storm to come. With the rumble of German aircraft engines, the storm arrived. Luftwaffe pilots aimed their payloads at the heart of these cities, their ports. Warehouses, docks, and cranes were transformed into pyres, sending plumes of smoke skywards. The devastation was enormous, yet amid the chaos, a resilient spirit began to rise. In the face of the relentless German assault, Britain, true to its indomitable spirit, resolved to stand firm. The attacks were met with fierce resistance from the Royal Air Force, RAF, and the Royal Navy. The echoes of the Dunkirk spirit reverberated through the hearts of every British soldier and civilian. What the Germans perceived as a strategic weakness, the British turned into a symbol of national resolve. Thus, this phase of the Battle of Britain was as much a test of Britain's physical defenses as it was a test of their morale. As the Luftwaffe carried out its orders, Britain responded with a spirit that would become emblematic of their role in the war. A great clash of wills ensued between the Axis and Allied powers, a clash that would leave an indelible mark on the annals of history. The initial German attacks on shipping and ports represented the opening gambit in a high-stakes game of strategic chess. What followed was a period of sustained resilience and tenacious defense from the British forces, responding to an existential threat with an unwavering spirit. This phase was just the opening act of the Battle of Britain, a prologue to the incredible feats of courage and strategic brilliance that were to follow. Main attack on British Fighter Command, August 8, 1940. As the calendar pages flipped over to the 8th of August, 1940, the circumstances morphed dramatically, heralding a critical turning point in the Battle of Britain. Up until this juncture, the German Luftwaffe's focus had been on attacking shipping and ports. However, their strategy took a sharp turn, like an unexpected gust of wind changing a sea vessel's course. The following days, up until August 18th, were marked by the main attack on the British Fighter Command. This period was as pivotal as it was intense, an epic during which the skies above Britain would play host to relentless aerial combat. In the grand chessboard of war, strategies are as fluid as they are nuanced. The Luftwaffe, having not achieved the desired success in crippling Britain's maritime capabilities, shifted their focus inland. The new target was the British Fighter Command, the control center for the country's air defenses. This was a calculated decision, a metaphorical strike at the enemy's heart intending to dismantle the defense mechanism from its very core. To fully grasp the strategic intent behind this move, we must understand the role of the British Fighter Command. It was the coordinating entity for the Royal Air Force's defensive efforts, the nerve center that organized and directed Britain's aerial resistance. Its destruction would inevitably lead to chaos in the British defenses, thereby opening the path for the German offensive. The Luftwaffe rolled out a fierce offensive, determined to bring the fighter command to its knees. German squadrons cut across the British skies like ravenous birds, unleashing a hail of bombs onto the British ground below. The objective was clear: to wreak havoc on the fighter command infrastructure, especially the critical radar stations and airfields. The bombings were relentless and precise, with the Luftwaffe showcasing the same level of ruthless efficiency that marked their earlier campaigns in Europe. Fighter command airfields were pounded repeatedly, their runways scarred and pockmarked with craters. The radar stations, crucial to Britain's early warning system, were also targeted, further escalating the pressure on British defenses. However, the British spirit, undeterred by the relentless onslaught, remained firmly rooted. The RAF scrambled their fighters, Spitfires, and Hurricanes alike in a concerted effort to hold off the relentless German formations. The sky was transformed into a grand arena of tactical aerial maneuvers, machine guns chattering, engines roaring, and aircraft swooping and diving. This period, a relentless duel between the Luftwaffe and the RAF, underscored the dire importance of air superiority in modern warfare. The German forces, accustomed to swift victories, found themselves engaged in a protracted battle against an enemy that refused to bow. In retrospect, the main attack on the British Fighter Command from August 8 to 18, 1940 marked a paradigm shift in the Battle of Britain. It was a strategic decision that would set the tone for the ensuing weeks of the conflict. The battles raged not just in the skies over Britain, but also in the war rooms, where strategies were continually assessed, modified, and implemented. This was a testament to the chaotic, fluid nature of warfare, where the only constant is change. These tumultuous days were an unequivocal testament to the resilience and unyielding spirit of the British people, who stared defiantly in the face of adversity and responded with indomitable courage and resolve. German Luftwaffe targets: RAF airfields and infrastructure, August 19, September 6, 1940. The shift in the sands of time ushers in unique chapters of history, each etched with its distinct footprints. August 19, 1940, marked the beginning of a new chapter in the Battle of Britain. A chapter wherein the German Luftwaffe, emboldened yet not completely successful in their assault on the British Fighter Command, extended their offensive. They now directed their attention towards the Royal Air Force (RAF) airfields and their related infrastructure. This period, which extended up to September 6, 1940, emerged as a critical juncture in the battle's grand narrative. The Luftwaffe's strategy embodied their determination to attain air supremacy over the British skies, a prerequisite for their broader invasion ambitions. The German air fleets launched concerted assaults on RAF airfields, aiming to incapacitate the British air defenses by disabling their nerve centers. However, beyond merely airfields, the focus also fell upon the support mechanisms that held the British defenses together. That is, the critical infrastructure that was intrinsic to their continued resistance. When we refer to infrastructure in this context, it encompasses a broad array of installations, both tangible and intangible. It comprised radar stations, aircraft factories, communication hubs, and the roads and railways leading to the airfields. This multifaceted approach was akin to chipping away at the base of a formidable fortress, intending to bring about its inevitable collapse. The Luftwaffe had anticipated that by damaging the RAF's infrastructure, they could substantially hinder the supply and repair chains, consequently decreasing the RAF's operational capabilities. Moreover, they envisaged causing significant disruption to the RAF's command and control networks, thereby creating disarray in the British ranks. The German forces descended upon the RAF installations like storm birds, raining destruction with a ferocity that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Meanwhile, beneath the darkened skies crisscrossed by contrails, the British proved their mettle. Even under relentless bombing, they exhibited an exemplary display of resilience and tenacity. Firefighters doused flames, engineers repaired runways, and personnel worked tirelessly to ensure the RAF's fighting capabilities remained undiminished. RAF fighters, primarily Spitfires and Hurricanes, rose to intercept the German bombers, resulting in fierce dogfights that filled the daytime sky. The nights were not silent either. Searchlights crisscrossed the darkness, anti-aircraft guns thundered, and night fighters probed the darkness for their quarry. This period reflected the quintessential dynamics of warfare, wherein the pendulum of fortunes swung erratically between both sides. The Germans inflicted significant damage, yet the British recovery and repair efforts consistently thwarted their ambitions. This was an era where the underdogs, battered yet unbroken, held their ground against an enemy that had hitherto been virtually unstoppable. As the last days of this phase drew to a close, the Battle of Britain was far from over. Yet the events between August 19th and September 6th, 1940, were a microcosm of the larger struggle. The resilience of the British forces, coupled with their untiring efforts to defend their homeland, had kept the Luftwaffe at bay. These were defining moments, pivotal sequences in the grand tapestry of history that was the Battle of Britain. Blitz begins. Bombing of British cities, September 7th, November 1940. As summer transitioned into autumn in 1940, a grim season of destruction unfolded over Great Britain. The Battle of Britain had morphed into a new phase, a brutal period known as the Blitz. Beginning on September 7th, it stretched on for several relentless weeks, culminating in November. This period bore witness to the haunting transformation of the conflict from a primarily military engagement into a terrifying assault on civilian life, with the bombing of British cities by the German Luftwaffe. The onset of the Blitz was marked by a shift in German strategy. Frustrated by the resilient defense put up by the Royal Air Force, RAF, and disheartened by the failure to incapacitate RAF airfields, the Luftwaffe High Command altered its target parameters. The focus now rested on major British cities, particularly London, with the aim of demoralizing the British population into submission and crippling Britain's war economy. On September 7th, the first wave of German bombers took off towards London, the throbbing heart of the British Empire. Their cargo, tons of explosives and incendiary devices, were intended to bring about widespread destruction and ignite an unquenchable firestorm. As the bombers droned across the English Channel, beneath them lay a city on the cusp of an unimaginable ordeal. The nights turned into an inferno as incendiary bombs rained down on London. Buildings turned into burning pyres, the night sky aglow with their fiery demise. The cityscape was transmuted into a realm of smoke, debris, and ceaseless sirens. However, amidst this fiery onslaught, London's spirit remained unquenched. Citizens found refuge in bomb shelters and tube stations, resurfacing each day to tend to their wounded city, exhibiting an admirable spirit of endurance. This relentless bombardment of London continued unabated for 57 consecutive nights. Yet the assault was not limited to London alone. Other cities, too, were caught in this vortex of destruction. Major industrial cities such as Birmingham, Coventry, and Liverpool became prime targets, their factories and docks vital cogs in Britain's war machine. Coventry, in particular, bore the brunt of this brutal onslaught on the night of November 14th in a raid that has since been infamously termed as the Coventry Blitz. German bombers unloaded a rain of destruction on the city, leaving it scarred and smoldering. However, within this chaos, a counterpoint to the German aggression emerged. The RAF fighters, along with the anti-aircraft command, presented a robust defense. Despite the nocturnal disadvantage and resource constraints, they engaged the German bombers in a desperate bid to safeguard their homeland. The Blitz thus emerged as a testament to human resilience in the face of rampant destruction. It was a time when despair and courage walked hand in hand, each day a testament to the indomitable human spirit. While the Luftwaffe aimed to shatter Britain's morale and will to resist, the opposite transpired. The people of Britain, united under the banner of adversity, chose resilience over surrender, etching an enduring chapter in the annals of their nation's history. Night bombing raids and conclusion, November 1940, May 1941. November 1940 marked a transformation in the battle playing out in the skies over Britain. The German Luftwaffe shifted its focus, instituting a series of relentless night bombing raids that would stretch into the spring of 1941. These months witnessed the cities of Britain endure the unceasing wrath of German bombs under the cloak of darkness, casting a grim shadow over the concluding chapters of the Battle of Britain. The reason behind this shift in strategy lay embedded in the tactical challenges that daytime bombing presented. Daylight raids by the Luftwaffe had been met with fierce resistance from the Royal Air Force, RAF. British fighter planes prowled the skies, engaging the German bombers in perilous dogfights. Additionally, Britain's anti-aircraft command had proved remarkably effective, with anti-aircraft guns frequently disrupting the trajectories of the German bombing raids. Thus, the Luftwaffe adopted nighttime bombing as a means to mitigate these challenges and escalate their campaign of destruction. The period from November 1940 to May 1941 came to be dominated by these nocturnal raids. The Luftwaffe's path of destruction widened to encompass cities beyond London. They targeted the industrial heartlands of Britain, aiming to cripple the nation's war economy. Cities such as Manchester, Liverpool, and Birmingham were subjected to sustained aerial bombardment, their factories and infrastructure bearing the brunt of German aggression. Of particular note during this period was the Luftwaffe's audacious assault on Coventry on the night of November 14, 1940. Termed as the Coventry Blitz, the city was subjected to an unprecedented 11-hour raid that left much of it in ruins. The scale of devastation inflicted upon Coventry came to symbolize the cruel reality of the Luftwaffe's nighttime bombing strategy. Despite the relentless onslaught, Britain's defense remained unyielding. The British demonstrated remarkable resilience, with citizens maintaining a semblance of normality amidst the chaos. Widespread blackouts were implemented to confuse German bombers, while ARP wardens, firefighters, and ordinary citizens worked tirelessly to manage the aftermath of the raids. On the offensive front, the RAF gradually adapted to nighttime warfare. The development of radar technology, enhanced training of night fighter crews, and the introduction of new fighter planes such as the Bristol Beaufighter played a pivotal role in increasing the effectiveness of Britain's defense. By the spring of 1941, the Battle of Britain reached its endgame. The Luftwaffe's resources were increasingly diverted to support Hitler's next ambitious military venture, Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. The frequency and intensity of the raids over Britain began to wane. The concluding air raid of the battle occurred on May 11, 1941, marking the end of the Luftwaffe's campaign against Britain. The Battle of Britain, with its climactic night bombing raids, served as a testament to Britain's remarkable resilience and the strength of its defense. Despite the heavy toll, Britain had withstood the German aerial onslaught, emerging from the fiery trials of the Blitz with its spirit unbroken and ready to continue the fight. The long nights of November 1940 to May 1941 thus imprinted themselves indelibly into the annals of British wartime history.